So hey Bertin, welcome to this little talk. Thank you for accepting the invitation here. Maybe we just start to present ourselves. So my name is Asa and I'm Director of Intercollege.
My name is Bertin. I'm the Managing Director of the Budapest-based Grundtvig Institute.
Exactly. And you are also a trained journalist, which is why we have invited you to come here.
Yeah, I've been working on the field of journalism for 4 years or 5 years now. I started to work at a TV station and I'm a foreign editor, and I'm also working in the magazine program of this channel.
Fantastic. And you have exactly this combination of journalism and the NGO sector, which is why I thought that it would be interesting to have you here and tell a little bit about your experience on how NGOs can create a bigger visibility for themselves. So let's start with the NGOs, or small community organizations, access to the media. I think that many of those organizations, they see it as an impossibility to get media publicity. If you as a NGO, local society organization, should have access to media, what would be your first advice?
Actually, for me, maybe it was a bit easier than for the ones which just established an NGO, because I'm working in the field of media. So I could see the tricks before, and I know the tricks before. Well, what we started at Grundtvig Institute, it was social media, because it's the easiest.
Yeah.
You only have to make a Facebook page or an Instagram page, or nowadays TikTok, because it's very popular amongst youngsters. And we made as many activities as we could.
Yeah.
And we posted on these channels everything, because this is how we could reach new users.
Yeah.
The other thing which I would advise you, beside of the social media, first, that you should know your target group. Yeah. Because if you know the target group, you know how you should deliver all the message to these people.
Mm-hmm.
Our target group at Grundtvig Institute is the age of 18 and 30 or 35.
Mm-hmm.
So actually Facebook, Instagram and TikTok is really our pages.
Mm.
But not only these ones, because we also wanted to have a publication or publicity at local level as well.
Yeah.
And what we did, that we started to find a topic which can be in line with the media provider where we wanted to have the publicity.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's always our interest first to be published, and secondarily, the media providers. Exactly. So we found a topic which we're happy about.
Mm-hmm.
For example, the SDG and the impact of SDG. And somehow we tried to, let's say, work on this topic, how this SDG topic, can be relevant for the media provider, which we want to use as a publicity to create a win-win situation.
Yes. And that's the thing, right? I mean, when you are working with media, it has to be a win-win. I mean, there has to be something that this media company wants to buy into. You have to create a value for them somehow, right?
Yeah, definitely. So, well, maybe it's not the best word in the NGO world, but somehow you should sell your message.
Yes.
And the media provider, for them, is not... I mean, it's nice that they can show you, and it's nice for them that they can have something, representation about you. But without you, they can also work. They can also live on the field. So somehow you should make yourself catchy to the media provider that you want to be, that you want to have a publicity.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, so it's about creating a value for them, because the media provider, in the end, they are interested in their number of viewers or the number of readers they have, and so on. So you kind of have to add in to create a value for them also, for them to create a value for you. That makes sense. Now, if we go a little bit back to the social media visibility. I kind of feel often when I see those visibility activity or dissemination activities done by partners around in Europe that it becomes very broad, and I sometimes question myself, who is the target group for this message? It seems like they want to reach everybody, and therefore maybe reach nobody. How can you when you work on social media? How do you make sure to catch the people that you want to catch exactly then?
So again, as always, you should start with the target group.
Yeah.
And you should see the behavior of your target group. So for example, if you want to sell or you want to deliver your message to 14, 15 or 16-year-olds, youngsters, young people, you should see what their behavior is, how they use the given social media. And if you know that, if you know their behavior and if you know the style of the usage, you can be much more successful on that. So it's just an example. Nowadays, maybe TikTok is the most popular amongst youngsters, young people, because they are just short videos, like 5, 10, 15 seconds videos, and they are very funny videos. The young people are always on TikTok because they like smiling, they like laughing, and they like these funny situations. So if you know that you should somehow produce a video like this, you should produce a video which is catchy and also informative because as an NGO, it's not only making fun and it's not making the young people laughing or
that's not the purpose. The purpose is of course something else, and that's what would be my argument. I mean, you know that I'm very old-fashioned, and the existence of TikTok is just something I have realized in connection with my work here. But often coming from a generation where you're used to get your information from a newspaper, on real paper with real print, it seems too superficial with some of those TikTok videos. Isn't there? Doesn't it risk to be too much party and fun and too less serious when you choose to search visibility through these medias?
So actually, the question at the end of the day, if you could deliver your message or not. And even though you made a funny video, but your message, for example, sustainability is important, is delivered, do you really care about what the video was?
So what you're saying is that the mean in which you are doing it is justified by the purpose. I guess you're right, but do we get substance enough? I mean, is it substance enough to just create that awareness that global responsibility is important, sustainable development is important? How can we get more substance to things than that?
Well, of course, you need to find a balance.
Yeah.
And you are an NGO, or you have an NGO, so you won't make any awkward videos at all.
Yeah.
And it's up to you what is the limit of your NGO. So if at the end of the day you think that your message is delivered and you are happy with the video, so you don't think that it's ridiculous, or you don't think that it's awkward, you have to, or actually you should acknowledge what the behavior of your target group is.
But let's say then that I, as an NGO leader for a small local NGO, actually managed to produce this TikTok video, I guess you will call it. How do I then make sure that it's reaching people? How do I make sure that it gets out as broad as I want? Because also in intercollege, I see that we sometimes produce something that I think is of really high quality and really good, and then in the end of the day, we kind of struggle to find a way to disseminate it. So how to make sure that it gets out broadly, or it's getting out to the people that we want to reach on the social media?
So if you have an account on TikTok or on Facebook or maybe on Instagram, you can see the number of followers. And if they follow you, it means that they on a daily basis, they get your videos. This is one thing. And the other thing that you can also measure how many people saw your given video. So how many people you reached by the given post.
And if I want to boost that number, what do I do?
Well, I think you should make more and more, because if you make more, then you can have more opportunity to boost the number. And the other thing is the advertisement. So if you really want to launch the publicity of your NGO, in the beginning, I think it's totally okay if you pay a bit just to give a publicity. I mean, just give the opportunity to be published and to get viewed.
Yeah. And once you are viewed, and that's what you're saying, once that people watch one of your videos, they're more likely, and they like it, then they're more likely to watch the next one and the next one. And in that way, you slowly grow your capacity on the social media platforms. That's what you're saying, right? Yeah.
So you can multiply the numbers of viewers by producing content.
Right. So if we just go a little bit back to the cooperation with the established media, if I have a event in my local NGO that I want to get coverage for, that I want the media to cover, can you give one or two advices on how do I get started with that? Where do I start?
Yeah, so if it's on local level,
let's take it at a local level. Yeah,
you should look for the local media, because the local media is always hungry for topics, because they also have to cover different things, different stories from the local region.
Yeah,
and actually the scope is very narrow. So that's why maybe you can also have them if you offer them a topic. So maybe there is a, let's say, charity event in your small town, and for them it's an occasion to go there and film there and make a story about this.
Yeah.
So it can be a win-win situation on a local level. So I think on local level it's not a big deal to find publicity, but you should know who you should call. So first is that you should look for the local media providers, and after that you should contact them. You should contact them by email, also by phone, or maybe personally, because I'm pretty sure that they don't live or they don't work so far from you, because it's on local level. So if you go there and you introduce yourself, of course, for an appointment, I'm pretty sure that you can easily create good connections.
Yeah. So it's about the relevance for the target group of that media. Is this activity, this event relevant? And the more local it is, the more relevant it will, of course, be for the users. Let's say we are making a press release, because I see that many of our partners, they are kind of searching for media attention by this old-fashioned press releases that we also did 20 years ago when I started in this sector. Anything of central advices you will give that if you are to make such a press release, or is it at all time for press releases anymore? Did the world grow away from press releases?
Well, I think there is a time for press releases, but you should be aware of the words and of the content. So when you are writing a press release, try to think as a journalist. Because when I was working at a communication company, they told me always the same, that even though we are not journalists, but we should think that we are. Because when we send the press release to a media provider, so for example to a web page, and the journalist will read it and it's so official, it's ununderstandable, they just won't care about this. But if they see that the topic is catchy, and if they see that the words, the expressions that are using or that are used are for the people, so a journalist doesn't have to work on the text so much. They just copy paste it and put it on the website because they can reach viewers and readers.
That's exactly what I have also seen several times when I have made press releases. That often it's just becoming if you do a press release well, it's just copy paste. But the secret that you're trying to emphasize here, that is basically to make the job easy for the journalist, help the journalist to see the potential of the story in the format that you intend. So if it's supposed to be an article in a newspaper, to help the journalist to look like to see how could this story look like if it's published as an article and so on.
Yeah, and again, you should pose the question before you send the press release to a media provider, that whose interest is to publish this, yours or the media providers? The answer is yours, of course. It's your interest. So if you see which words are used at the given media provider, what the topics are which are covered by the given media provider, and you are writing a text, writing a press release in this style, probably you will be much more successful than otherwise.
So again, put yourself in the place of the media provider, put yourself in the place of the journalist, ask yourself, would I as a media provider consider this as having an actuality, or would I consider it having a relevance for my target group and my audience? I think that was some very good concrete pieces of advice. Thank you so much for coming here, Pat.
Thank you for the invitation. Thank you very much.